Alrighty, guys. So, last episode, we got our metallurgic science going. Is that what it's meant? Yeah, metallurgic science. So we've got that. We had that cooking, and off camera, I went ahead and I let it cook and got ourselves some science. We have a total of around 7,000 science between what's in the rocket and what's in storage here. So we're covered for all of, the metallurgic science researches that we can do. This is 500. This is 1,000. That's 1,500. 1,500 is 3,000 is 6,000, right? Or no, it's 3,000 rather. And then another 2,000 is 5,000, and another 2,000 is 7,000. So we need 7,000 science to get all the way through to the infinite sciences, and that'll get us all through those. So we've got 7,000 here. In addition to that, there's 7,000 waiting for us on Fulgoris rather. So we're going to pick both of these up, and we're going to get it going. One of the things that I said I wanted to play around with was the steam engines up here because of the the ability to make steam and stuff. And I did that, and because our power is getting low anyway, so I put them out. And I mentioned it to Joe Mama, and I told him, hey, check out how many engines you can actually put on this. And if you look at the way this is done, for one calcite, you get 10,000 steam for every 5 seconds. That works out to 2,000 steam every second. If you look at the steam engines, they use 30 steam every second. So if you do the math, it comes out to about 66 and 2/3 steam engines for every one piece of calcite that you use. And I thought that was pretty wild. So I pointed that out to him. We were discussing it, and he noticed something that he pointed out to me that completely skipped my notice. In Factorio, there are essentially two flavors of steam, if you will. For lack of a better term, we'll call them two flavors, two types, two whatever of steam. There's low temperature steam and high temperature steam. The boilers that are usually paired up with the steam engines make essentially low temperature steam. The steam that comes from the reactors, from the nuclear reactors, is high temperature steam. We're making 500 degrees Celsius steam here. That's high temperature steam. So we can actually put in the steam turbines as opposed to the steam engines. Now, we can't feed as many because they take twice as much steam to run. They take 60 versus 30. So you can only put in half as many. But if you look at what these will power versus these are almost 5 times as powerful, or maybe more, I think. I'd have to sit down and do the actual math, than these are. So even though you're getting half, because you're doubling and then some the ability of these, you're actually doubling what you can put in here with the steam engines. So that was pretty cool. Now, I never really intended to completely run off of steam power up here because of the solar is so powerful and stuff. I'm going to run primarily off of solar. But as you just saw, sometimes these do run. So I am probably going to run these, but I think in the future, if I add any to this, I'm going to be adding the steam turbines. I'm not going to be adding the steam engines. It just doesn't make sense to run with the lower quality stuff. So there's that. Let's get our science moving now. Let's go ahead and go over here. So Valley Forge is all loaded up and ready to come back. I put a bunch of engines on here. We're making engines now. I know I don't need them, but I really want to lean into making miners. And one of the slow points for that was engines. So we're getting engines set up. I'm sending up low density structures and blue processing units because we need them to launch the rockets, to get the science back here to be able to research the stuff that we need to make plastic so that we can make these. We can't make them yet, so I'm sending them there. I'm sending some pump jacks because of the sulfuric acid, and I've got quality pump jacks. I might as well send them to them. I've got quality pump jacks on everything down on Novice now anyway. So we're going to get that going. Did I not send... Oh, these I think are headed to... I think we're sending these over to Vulcanus because we don't have any there. So we've got everything set up. We've got spare ammo. All of our turrets should at this point, yep, they're reloaded. So we've got all of our turrets reloaded. So we're ready to go. So let's go ahead and send this puppy to Vulcanus. And when it gets here, we'll load it up and what have you. In the meantime, let me show you what else I've done. So I went around and I put radars out so we can see the rest of our stuff. We don't have, without having to go up there. I grabbed another sulfuric acid patch because why not, right? So we've got that. That's one of the reasons I'm sending up the pump jacks. We're going to replace these pump jacks with quality pump jacks. I've also grabbed up this tungsten patch as best I could. One of the things that I discovered while doing this, the underground belts will not go under the lava. So I had to route around it. They won't go under this. And that's fine. We may do here. But here's the problem. Down here, this big 201K patch, well, not big as far as numbers, but it is certainly a big in size, is sitting in a pool of lava. So we're not going to be able to use undergrounds to get this out of here, which means we're going to have to come in here with trains. Now, there is not much room here that we could maybe make a station here to get it in and out with the trains. What I think is going to end up happening is that I think I'm going to have to cover part of this patch with the train station, mine out half the patch, move the train station to the mined out half, and finish mining out the rest of it. So we're going to have to get creative on our trains there. But that's minor. I have not gone out and killed any more demolishers than what we did. We have plenty of room right now. We don't have cliff explosives to get rid of this mess. Soon we will have. That's part of the research that we're doing. Okay, Valley Forge is here. So let us send stuff down. All right, and while that's sending down, let's send this up. And then go back to Valley Forge and send the rest of what needs to come down. And I think that's it for coming down. So now we just need to send everything up. Now, one of the things I did off camera in preparation for this, I put a buffer in here. Because our fuel production here is low, because we don't have the coal liquefaction yet, the advanced, we've only got the simple. It's a little slow, and we have not built more fuel manufacturing because we're waiting on the better liquefaction. Okay, so I went ahead and put buffers in here so that it doesn't take us forever to get these rockets built. Now we've got the rockets down here. We should be able to, yes, we can take this stuff, bring it up here, and put it where it needs to go to start building our next rocket and so on and so forth. That'll speed up the process. We're going to get all of this stuff up to the Valley Forge. Have we? Okay, I just want to make sure we got everything down that we need. Okay, yes, we do. We'll get this stuff all up to Valley Forge. Then we're going to go over to Fulgora. And I think we can put it in faster that way. And we're going to pick up the science from Fulgora. And then we're going to head back to Novice and do our research. Come on. Let me put it in. Come on. Deliver cargo. Alright. And I've got the deliveries turned off there. Good. So, we've got all of this stuff going down here. We'll wait for that one to build the new one and what have you. We got everything mostly set up that we need. The only thing we're not making here is red and green circuits. Or red and blue circuits, because we don't have plastic production, which is what we need the research for. And we're not making low density structures because we need plastics, which is what we need the research for. Other than that, pretty much everything here covers all of our basic needs. And if there's anything else that we need to do, we can always put down an assembler and build it and what have you. So we got that going. So the next thing we need to do is we need to start building our low density structures, and we need to start making plastics. Now, low density structures, I think I'm going to squeeze it in here because it needs plastic, and then it needs iron, molten iron and molten copper. So I can squeeze one in here, and we can start getting those made. That's my plan anyway. Come on. You can do it. Cut his head off. Oh. So we're almost done. We got one more rocket after this one to launch, and then we can send that over to Fulgora. Alright. The other thing I did, now that we got that one launched, we got to wait for another one, is I made a second tank. I know I brought these two with me. I didn't know whether we would need them right away. It turns out we didn't, and with the cliffs and stuff, we're not going to do a lot of driving. But I'm going to set up one of these tanks, just like I have on Novice, and just like I have on Fulgora, as a construction tank. Now, the other tank is going to be, eventually we're going to go after more destroyers and just go hunting for the heck of it. We don't necessarily need more territory, but why not, right? I mean, we're only human. And then we've got the cars. So we've got all three of these. One of them I'm gonna, like I say, I'm gonna set up as a construction vehicle. Now, the thing with that is, all right, get that one delivered. When I came up here, I had a portable reactor for myself, and I had one that I intended to put in the tank. But now I've got the big suit. I've got them both in my suit, so I don't have any reactors up here. So what I think I'm going to do is, when I leave here, we're going to empty a lot of this stuff out into these tanks. We're going to put one of the reactors in each of the tanks. I'm going to go home without reactors, because at Novice I can make them. I've got uranium down there. We can make the tanks. So I'm going to go home and I'm going to make them at home. All right, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,000. So we're good to go. We can send this guy on over to Fulgora, and he can go pick up science there. How are we doing with the turrets? We got 75, we got 69, and we got 98. We are good on turrets. I think we can get to Gleba with this with no problems with this same ship. I don't know that we can get to the outer planets. This is not really built to deal with a lot of asteroids. So we may have to make a new ship to go to the outer planets once we're done at Gleba, which I'll be honest, I'm not necessarily looking forward to Gleba. I want to get done there as fast as I can and get away from there. Just because of the whole spoilage thing and what have you. But I think we're going to use this to go there. And then when we're done, I think we're going to make maybe one, if not two more of these, to have them do our supply runs for us on the inner planets, because this seems to work pretty good as long as we keep a little bit of ammo on it. And then we'll redesign for the outer planets, because they have these are like medium asteroids or whatever. Yeah, they're mediums. My understanding, the big asteroids, they have a high resistance against guns, so that may be an issue for us. So there's that. It's on its way to Novice, and then it's got to go over to Gleba. So that's something we're working on. I'm thinking about what I want to do for a new ship design or whatever. I've seen people say rockets are the way to go for the big asteroids. I think explosives is the one thing they have a weakness to. So that being said, we are almost done here on Vulcanus. We got to set up our plastics. We got to set up our red and blue chips, and we got to set up our lightweight structures, our low density structures. And then I think we're done here, with the exception of, mailing stuff out, like miners and stuff. We want to start mailing out miners to different places. And we want to start mailing out recyclers from Fulgora to different places. So, thus far, and I'm going to do the same thing at Gleba, we have kept our bases small and shoestring, simply because we just want to get through them, get the signs, get to the next place. Once we have all 4 of the inner planets colonized, then we're going to start industrializing, and I'm going to start making bigger factories. Right now, we're just getting by on what we got, and it's meeting our needs, but it's certainly not perfect. We are halfway to Fulgora. Awesome sauce. So once we're done, these work for us. We just need to go better. Now down here in Fulgora, I did the same thing. I put in some beacons with speed modules and some production modules, and I put in a buffer chest so that we can start building these faster. And I've got almost 6,000 here. We're a few shy. And I've got, another 1,000 in the rocket, and we've already got some down on Novice, so if we don't make the 6,000, I'm not going to worry about it. The other thing I need to do is I need to go back up here, and I need to revisit this. I took some of the speed modules out to be able to work down there, but we are starting to really back up on stuff. But I've kept it going because we need ice, and we're not making a lot of ice. We need water to keep things working down here, and there is no water on the planet, so we have to either use ice out of the scrap, or we're going to have to find another way to create ice. Now we've used up 2 million of the scrap out of this so far, so we're doing all right. So we're either going to have to up our scrap processing, which means we're going to have a whole lot more crap to throw away, or we're going to have to invest it in stuff. And again, we're going to try and build up our industrialization here. or we have to do something else for our water. And I think what I'm going to end up doing, all right, we are here, we're here. Let us go ahead and get stuff started mailing it up to the ship. So I think what I'm going to end up doing is at least around Fulgora, and we might do something similar on Vulcanus, is I think I'm going to put a station in orbit here at Fulgora with the express mission of grabbing ice and sending ice down to the planet, because that's going to give us the water we need. You know what? Let's do the same thing we did. We can't because of the fact that we're not there. Sugar. I was going to grab it and put it in a rocket. You can't because we're not actually there. But put a station in orbit specifically for capturing ice and sending it down to the planet for water. Now the problem with that is going to be we have to worry about damage, because we're around Novice, you hardly get any asteroids, and they're small, so they don't do any damage. Around Fulgora, around Vulcanus, I'm guessing around Gleba, they're medium asteroids, which means you're going to get damaged. So I'm going to have to start making ammo down here. We're going to have to start making armor-piercing ammo. We can't make uranium ammo down here, but we can certainly stock that station with armor-piercing ammo and just keep sending rockets up and keeping it supplied with ammo, and have it dump stuff down to us. So that's kind of the plan. Let's get all of this on here that we can before we send it. Waste not, want not. 1, 2, 3, 4 more rockets, and then we can send that back to Novice. What do we got? Oh, yeah, see, we sent those recyclers from Novice to Fulgora, or to Vulcanus. That's why they were on the ship. We've got 12 more that have got to go back to Novice so that we can set up recyclers down there. Because once we have these 4 done, like I say, we're going to start industrializing. The other thing we're going to start doing is we're going to start playing around heavily with the quality stuff. Since we're going to be building up and industrializing, we might as well start really kind of leaning into the quality stuff. So that's the plan there. Right now, we just need to get all of this stuff shipped back home so that we can finish out our sciences. 1, 2, 3 more ships. Well, 4 maybe because of the recyclers. But they're building pretty quick. It was definitely a good idea to put a provider chest for fuel, because we're not making big. You can see we're not making a lot of fuel at a time. But with it already here, yes, we're keeping excess in storage that we don't necessarily need to, but I'm fine with that. Now, one of the things with Gleba that I have kind of gleaned just from looking at like the Facebook page and things like that, someone mentioned that Gleba is the complete opposite of the rest of Factorio when it comes to production. Normally with Factorio, you want your your resources or your supplies waiting on your production. In other words, you want to have your supplies backed up so that there's always supplies there, and they don't get used until the production uses them. So you're oversupplied in supplies, undersupplied in production. That's Factorio. That's what speeds the process up. Gleba is the opposite, because things decay, and because certain things are subject to hatching bugs when they decay, you want your production waiting on your supply, not the other way around. In other words, you don't want a bunch of eggs sitting on a belt somewhere, waiting to go into the production because they're going bad and they're spoiling as they're sitting there. So if your production outpaces your supply, nothing in your supply is waiting on the belts. And that's my understanding of what the situation there is and what you want to do. So we're going to have to change our way of thinking, because we're not going to be able to do this on gleba, at least for the biological stuff or whatever. I don't know how much of that is which. It is going to be a learning process. How we doing? Looks like we may have one more to send. And then we will have everything sent. So that is where things stand. We get this stuff sent. It's got to go back to novice. Then we've got to kind of wait on our research. So I'm not sure. Well, let's go ahead and wait on that. Make sure everything gets in that one and that one gets sent. And is that everybody almost? Because of those recyclers, it may not all go in one more. Yeah, we got a little bit left. Oh, all right, we'll send that one. I guess we'll send this one. Can we send some stuff with it at least? What do we want to send with it? Do we want to send some more recyclers with it? Let's go ahead and send some more recyclers with it. We'll tell it 20 because we'll send them someplace else if nothing else. I don't know how many will fit. We'll get as many as we can in there. And then we'll tell this to stop. There we go. All right. So let's look at, like I said, let's look at gleba, and let's look at water production. So if we go here to the Factoriopedia and we go to water. Water is either gathered, which we can't gather here, or it's shipped in, or it's made from condensing steam or melting ice. It's the only ways we can do it. Steam, the only way we can do steam is acid neutralization. So that's calcite and sulfuric acid. Now, I believe we can make the sulfuric acid pretty simple down here, right? It's sulfur, water, and iron plate. So we're kind of robbing Peter to pay Paul there, though, aren't we? Because if we're using water to make sulfur, and then we're using the sulfur to make sulfuric acid, and then we're using the sulfuric acid to make water, or to make steam to make water, we're going to have to look at the numbers and see whether it pays for itself. If it doesn't pay for itself, if it's a debt, there's no sense doing it. Now, as far as The other portion of this, the petroleum gas, again, it takes water. But as far as the oil portion of that, we got an entire planet full of it. So I am not entirely sure, after you get through all of the math with regards to water production, that is a viable option. I think it's a sum loss. I don't know. I'm going to have to sit down and figure it out, but I think it's a sum loss, which means we're going to have to either ship in water, which is kind of stupid, or build the platform and ship in ice. And I think that's going to be the way to go. I think if we make a platform with all the grabbers primarily focused on grabbing ice, I think we can make a go of it, at least enough of a go of it to keep this going. I don't know. We'll see. That's my thought process. All right, so I think that is all of our science, right? Is that all of our science? Yes, that's all of our science. That's ready to go back. Now, one of the things I did over here, because I knew I was sending in so much science, I added 3 cargo bays down here, because this was going to fill up, and then we'd have a problem of not being able to get the rest of it in, or it just and it all over the floor. And I didn't want to do that, so I added some more cargo bays. I have not. Oops. I keep wanting to hit escape, and it's not the right thing to hit. I have not added a buffer down here for this rocket. I don't know whether I need to or not. We are making a crap ton of rocket fuel down here, so I don't think I need to, because we're using it for the trains and everything else. So I don't think I'm going to do that. We are doing pretty good down here. Like I say, everything's sitting idle. Now, if this was Gleba, this would be a problem. That's what I'm saying. This is what I'm getting at. This has to be moving all the time. It has to be chewed up, burnt up, used, whatever the case may be. We gotta rethink the way we do things. This cannot happen in Gleba. But I think everything else here is stable. Everything else is generally good to go. I think on Vulcanus, we are pretty much good to go as well. I have already started making armor-piercing rounds here so that we can go out and kill some more of the demolishers. At least the small ones. And I don't know how many. I do know there are a few more small ones around, what have you. So there we go. There's that. That is all working. Now we just need our science to cook. I think this is going to be a pretty short episode, because now we got to wait on our sciences. So we got to send this guy back to Novice. Then we got to unload him. Then we got to wait for our sciences to cook. So I think this is going to end up being a shorter episode. It's only been a half hour, but we've covered pretty much everything we can cover. And by the time the science is cooked and this and that and the other, it'll be an hour, and then we won't be able to, we won't have the time to get everything set up. So I think what we'll do is I think we're going to end it here. And next episode, we're going to plan on where we're going to put our oil processing so that we can start getting our plastic done. And I think we're probably going to do it somewhere up here or something, because here's coal, and we need coal for it, right? Let's see. We need coal, we need heavy oil, and we need steam. And then once the process kicks off, it's going to be making enough heavy oil to feed back into the system, so we don't need to make heavy oil. We're just going to need to make the steam and the coal, right? So we're going to need coal, And we're going to need steam. And steam, we already know, uses sulfuric acid, which we just pump it out of the ground, and calcite, which we got a ton of. So I think we'll make it somewhere up here near the coal, and then that will start our oil production. And then we can bring it over here. We can make our low density structures over here. We can figure out a place to make our plastic. And then we can make our red and blue circuits. And those I'm probably just going to do the same thing we did down here just to get them going, and then we'll go from there. So that's going to be it, guys. I need to go now. I need to go offload. Are we at? Yep, we're there. So we need to offload all of this mess. And then we need to start researching. Now there, let's send those. Blah, blah, blah. Right? Come on. Okay, and then where is it? Right there. We'll just make sure that it's going in. And now that should be coming out. All right, guys. So there it is. We got it going. It's going to start cooking our coal liquefaction, which is going to take a little while to run through. So we're going to call this a short episode, and go from there. And yeah, it's a good thing we put in the extra storage. All right. I'll see you in the next one, guys. By then, we should have that done. I think I'm going to go ahead and just let it finish all of the sciences, because we've got enough science down there to do it. We've got enough science packs to do it. We might as well just let it burn through all the sciences and be done with them. All right? All right, I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye.